What if this whole issue actually has nothing to do with sales or the fact that you're not sure what to do? What if this whole issue is that you're scared to make more money? As we dove in, he was afraid that if he would make a bunch more money, that his family would start to talk about him like he's heard them talk about other people who had money. And he was afraid that he would be outcast by part of the family if he all of a sudden came back and was making a bunch of money. And he even said, if I did start making a bunch of money, I probably wouldn't tell people about it. What if we could work on that and that were to unlock you and unlock joy in their life? But also, what if you could actually use this as an opportunity to change their perspective? What are the stories that you're telling yourself around money that are holding you back in life and business right now? Even if you're a millionaire, I bet there's certain things that come from your childhood, that come from your upbringing, that even just come from, baked into you from birth, that are holding you back, that are making you less the great version of you than you're capable of, guys. Okay, and this Trevor Truck Talk is I'm driving into Roseburg right now. I was down in Phoenix for my mastermind. There was an amazing speaker there named Mike Brown. I'm going to be working with him quite a bit moving forward. And he did a talk about money mindset. And I honestly went into that talk, y'all. This is in a group. Everybody in this group is millionaires. Okay, so every single person, probably 30 or 40 of us in there. Everybody's millionaires in there. There's some people that sold their companies for 9 figures in that group. But everyone's a millionaire in some way, shape, or form in that group. So Mike came in there and he's sharing his story where he grew a business. He was a fighter pilot for the Navy. He grew an amazing business in oil and gas, sold it for a bunch of money for 8 figures. And subsequently, over the next several years, went on to spend, waste, lose a huge hunk of that money. And as he went, he discovered that he had some mindset issues around money that were just baked in from childhood that caused him to react to money in that way once he had it. He'd never known how to treat money when you have it. He only had the scarcity mentality of, I'm never going to be without money. And in the story, I'm going to tell you guys part of my story too. In his story, he grew up in a family that he said, his mom and dad were amazing, but they fought day in, day out. And he remembers as a kid that the only topic that they fought about, it was always around money. And he said, I'm going to never have an issue with money in my life, with my family, with my wife. So I'm going to become a millionaire. And so he set out to do that and he became a millionaire. And his whole money mindset was based around not ever being in a spot where he doesn't have money, not being in a spot where money is going to be an issue of argument in his relationships. And then once he had a chance to have a lot of money at once, that money mindset did not shift into what he needed to be the person he'd become. That money mindset served him well to become the person he'd become, but that money mindset was not going to serve him well for the future from this point forward. And it actually stopped serving him. That money mindset that you have right now that might have served you to get from 0 to 100,000 or 100,000 to 3 or 300,000 to a million or even a million to 10, that money mindset served you well, right? It got you there. Or I'll challenge you, the money mindset that you have might be serving you terribly bad. Maybe it's exactly what's holding you back. I was talking with an amazing friend and customer. This is a few months back, and he's been doing well for himself, but he's stuck at this $300,000 a year mark. And as we got into it, the conversation that we were talking about had nothing to do with his money mindset at the start. It was about, how do I grow my business? But then I'm pulling back and I'm just thinking as I'm coaching him, I'm just going, man, I think you already know what you need to do to grow your business. So I asked him, I said, well, what would you do if you had to double your company? And he told me exactly what he would do. And I go, well, that's probably about what I would tell you. So when he asked me for advice, I said, what do you need advice on? And he laid out a few things. And I said, well, which one's most important for you think? And he said, well, the growing the business part. Then I asked him that question because I saw that he'd learned how to build a business. He knew how to market some, but he always kept on holding himself back. He would get to this point and then hold himself back. He'd get to this point and then hold himself back. And I was starting to see a pattern there. I'm like, I don't think it has anything to do with marketing or sales. I think it has everything to do with a money mindset that's preventing him from actually building past the point that he is right now. And as we dove into it, that's exactly what became true. As we dove into it, there were conversations about his dad and his dad's profession as a pastor, and money always being a conversation that was taboo. Money being something that wasn't something that you did if you're a godly person. You didn't make a lot of money, right? And then with his spouse, there were very, very similar conversations as well. And those mindsets, I'm not saying that these were the ones that he had, but these are very, very common mindsets with people who have this type of money mindset of, I'm not worth it. I don't deserve it. If you make a bunch of money, you must be evil. You must have did wrong to people. Man, if you became a millionaire, you probably took from people to make that happen. The only way that you can become a millionaire or become wealthy is by wronging someone else, or money is a finite resource. And if I make a bunch of it, it must mean that others are losing a bunch of it, right? If you've ever had any of these thoughts, or if you have family or friends that have these thoughts, these are pretty darn damaging thoughts, because these thoughts actually are going to guide and dictate what you do in your business and life. And subconsciously, they're going to hold you back. They're going to hold you back. They're going to make you stop making decisions at spots where those single decisions could actually unlock you and could help you have this amazing, amazing life, this amazing life of service to others. And when you serve others at greater capacities, you know what happens, guys? It flows back to you in amazing ways, okay? And so as we got to talking, we discovered the money mindset was just insidious. It was really wearing at him in a big way. And I asked him a couple of questions. I said, what if this whole issue actually has nothing to do with marketing? What if this whole issue has nothing to do with sales or the fact that you're not sure what to do? What if this whole issue is that you're scared to make more money? What if this whole issue is that you're scared? And as we dove in, he was afraid that if he would make a bunch more money, that his family would start to talk about him like he's heard them talk about other people who had money. And he was afraid that he would be outcast by part of the family if he all of a sudden came back and was making a bunch of money. And he even said, if I did start making a bunch of money, I probably wouldn't tell people about it. I go, man, what if we could work on that, and that were to unlock you and unlock joy in your life? But also, what if you could actually use this as an opportunity to change their perspective? Don't let someone's bad money mindset rub off on you and make it so you're also harming them. Now, let me repeat that. Don't let someone else's money mindset, their bad money mindset, rub off on you so you don't get a chance to help them. Because what if you could be the person that changes it for your family? What if you could be the person that changes the money mindset, and you're able to now go help them see the money's not a bad thing. Money's just a vehicle, guys. Money's just a tool, okay? And depending on who uses the tool, money can be good or money can be bad. And yeah, there have been bad people that have used the tool of money to do bad things. But you know what? Money inherently is not bad itself. Money is not something that is bad, okay? Money is a tool, and I hope that you choose to use that tool for good. And when you do, and when you can show those around you that tool it could actually help amplify the good that they want to see in the world, then they start to see money differently. And if you can show them that you're making money in a good way by truly serving other people and sharing that with the world, they might look at money a different way. They might not look at it as an evil, as a thing that grades and gauges whether you're a person who is doing good things in the world or bad things. And so as we wrap that conversation, he was at a spot where he's like, man, I never thought of this before. And for him, I'm so convicted that the money mindset is the issue. And so kind of going back to the event down in Phoenix and the conversation there. So Mike was walking through an exercise, and he asked us to go through an exercise. And I'm going to be going through this exact same exercise with my Epic program, our high-level clients at one of our intensives. We do these in-person intensives. It's basically carrot camps on steroids for those who want to really step into growth personally, becoming the person that you're destined to be, and also building the company that you're capable of building. And he walked us through this exercise. I'm not going to walk you through now for the sake of time. But as I looked at it at first, I'm like, I don't have a money mindset issue. I'm a millionaire, right? I've built businesses over $10 million. I have a good bit of real estate. I've failed in a couple businesses, but I've made some really, really great businesses as well. I've made some good investments. And I start to look at it and go, I don't have a money mindset, dude. I'm usually the guy who actually helps other people out of their money mindset. And as I pulled back, I started thinking, I go, let me challenge this here. Let me just go with it. Let me remove my assumptions and just ask myself, like, what if I did have a money mindset issue? What would it be? Where may this be popping up in my life that it's actually holding me back and I don't even know it? And I started to recognize something. Something popped up in my mind. God probably put it there for me, but something popped up in my mind. And what popped up was, Trevor, you kind of stop right before you hit your greatness, and that becomes a pattern, right? It becomes a pattern. And then you push through. Sometimes you've got to really go through a real challenge or a trial, and then you find your greatness, and then you move to the next level, but it seems like it's too hard, right? I let myself stop or pause before I truly reach my greatness in that phase of life. And I asked myself, does this come up in other ways? And I remember going back to when I was a kid, and we would do trick-or-treating for Halloween. And we would get the big old pillowcases, and we'd load those pillowcases up, and we would go home, we'd eat some candy. And I remember my brother's pillowcase would always be full, mine would be full. And I would take my pillowcase, I'd shove it under my bed. He would take his, shove his under his bed. And I would rarely touch mine. I would save this candy like it was this scarce thing. I would maybe eat a piece of candy every so often. My brother's would be gone in 3 weeks, right? He would just chow his down. And I think we were at the extreme ends of good, and both of them were bad, I think. I thought it was amazing that I was saving. But what would happen is I'd end up throwing most of my candy away. Okay, I'd end up throwing most of my candy away because it started to go bad. When it sat there, it became stagnant and stale, and then I threw it away. And sometimes it would still be there next Halloween. Now, my brother, on the other hand, ate his so fast. He wasted it. He went through. He didn't have a chance to enjoy it as much. Okay. And, but you know what? He at least got to enjoy it. I didn't get to enjoy mine. Okay. I didn't get to enjoy most of mine because I never even got to touch it. It was just there. And I found that I would do the same thing with money when I was a kid. I would get the birthday money, the Christmas money. I'd rarely spend any money ever. And I remember just stacking up this money. And I've told stories in other podcast episodes where I talk about that I graduated college and I had a couple few $1,000s in the bank after buying a truck. The reason I had money to be able to buy a truck with my own money, not my parents' money, and the reason I was able to do that was because I saved all my money for years and years. I remember this is like a decently traumatic experience. I had my wallet and I had all of my money. I was probably 7, 8 years old. I had all of my money in this wallet. I had this silver dollar that my grandpa gave me in there. I had a bunch of money. I think I had $100 or $200 in this wallet. I was packing it around. And my dad and I, we went to a basketball game up at Oregon Tech where I ended up going to college. And I remember having that wallet with me. And then we left and got in the car to head back home. And I didn't have the wallet with me then. And I start freaking out. Right. I mean, this is every ounce of every money that I have. And I had it in my pocket. My dad's like, you had your wallet with you with all your money in it? And of course, he was probably wondering why I was packing that around as a little kid. And I ended up losing it. So we ran back inside and looked all around and asked everybody, and we couldn't find it. So someone grabbed it and they made it theirs. Right. So I remember that for years. And what happened was it actually made me in that time even save and hoard money even more. And so let's kind of fast forward to an adult. I'm not afraid to invest money. I will spend money on big things quickly, oftentimes. Sometimes it's the little things I'll hold back on. But I have found that pattern did tend to carry forward into adult life. Now, I wouldn't say it was as extreme, but I have been a big saver. I've been more on the conservative side of saving. And what happens oftentimes is I would then stop when there was a chance to really take a good, strong, calculated risk that the odds were far in my favor. I would stop. I would pause. I would analyze it and have paralysis. And the reason I would was because I was protecting the nest egg, the goose egg, whatever you want to call it, that was already there. And I didn't want that to go away. I didn't want to lose my wallet again. Okay. And that's cost me probably, tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars. And lost opportunity that were pretty high potential to actually win. And so in that moment, Mike asked a few people to raise their hand and step up and say, hey, here's a challenge I'm seeing. And I did. And I don't know why, man, but it kind of hit me emotionally a couple times. It's not like this has been a topic that has been of contention in my family. It hasn't been something that I have even thought about emotionally ever. I always actually thought about it as a strength. But as I was looking at it and looking at some areas of my life where I don't feel like I'm stepping into my greatness like I want to, I was going, oh my gosh, I do have a money mindset issue, and this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to unlock this. This is an opportunity to finally reward myself with some things because of what we've accomplished. I was at a real hard time to reward myself. I remember telling myself, man, when I hit $1 million a year, I'm going to go buy this thing. And I never did. And then I go, when I hit $1 million a month, my first time, which we did, and then we kind of had some challenges and then growing it back up from there. I'm going to go buy this Corvette. I've always been looking for this Corvette and I never did. And so where that stems from is, well, I don't really need it. I just did a podcast episode on needs versus wants. So go check that one out. I don't really need that Corvette, right? I can go see one at a show or whatever. I don't need it. And so then I would remove that desire. I would remove that reward or that ability to have joy from that piece of art, that 63 split window Vette. And then I would just go out there and grow the business again. And when you do that over and over again without reward, without rewarding yourself, and all you see on the other end of that work is pain and not reward, and you don't really see the vision of serving more people yet. So once again, go back to the other episode of need motivation versus want-based motivation. But when you fall into that pattern, you oftentimes don't step into the greatness then, because you look at it and go, what's the greatness gonna get me, right? What's the greatness gonna do for the world? And is it just gonna be more pain for me? Is it even gonna help other people? And so that's something I was really wrestling with for a couple of days. I went into that literally thinking I have no money mindset issues. I am a high performer. I've been a high performer for most of my adult life. There's areas I want to get way better at. I think I'm a 6 out of 10 in some areas. I want to be a 9 or 10 out of 10. But I walked out of there going, you know what? I've been limiting my greatness because I've been looking at money as something you hoard and stock away versus something that you use to invest in things that cause joy, that create impact. I mean, I donate usually over $100,000 a year to causes that I'm passionate about. And that makes me happy. It does. But one thing I think I've been robbing my family of and myself of, we've invested into our home big time. We're going to be building another guest house, ripping down the current one, building a guest house, a gym, an office over there overlooking the river. We're finishing up the design of our big new deck with the in-ground swimming pool overlooking the river. Just going to make an amazing place for our family and for friends, for church and everyone else. But you know what, guys? Very rarely do I reward myself. Very rarely do I step into that and go, man, what would greatness truly look like if I rid myself of this money mindset? That money is to sock away over here and never touch again. And we all know so many people who passed away with a bunch of money in their bank account they couldn't take with them, right? So I want to challenge you. I want to ask you to write down, to pull away some time and write down, what money mindset issue do you have that's holding you back? And I want you to challenge yourself. And even if you don't think you have one, maybe you do. Just believe for a second that you may. Now, you may not also, okay? But believe for a second that you may. And it may not be around saving money or spending money or money is evil, or if I make a bunch of money, my family's going to disown me. Maybe it's not around those topics, okay? Maybe it's more around I don't deserve it. Maybe it's more around, well, why do I need more? There's a lot of people that have needs, and I'm definitely not one of them that has so much needs that I really need this. Well, what if you're the person who is literally able to unlock the resources to help those who are truly in need, but don't have the mental capacity or wherewithal to go grab those resources like you do? What if you're the person, right? So I want to challenge you guys there, okay? So write those down and hit me up on Instagram. Follow me on trevor.mauch, that's M-A-U-C-H. And I'd love to hear from you on Instagram. What are your money mindset problems or challenges or opportunities? And I'd love to help you through that, guys. If you're interested in the Epic program, as always, guys, I'd love to help you grow from 300,000 to $1 million, or $1 million to 3, or 3 to 10. Buy back more time, have a life of joy and a business that truly impacts people. Go to care.com/epic And I'd love to see you there. Bye, guys. What are your money mindset issues?